Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Osmania Long Note Tournament 4th edition. We are back with the penultimate block of matches for the round of 64 weekend, and we have another one ready for you here today. It's going to be Tonels taking on Zoobin to see who's going to be making it to the winners round of 32 and who's going to get bounced down early in this bracket. A very exciting matchup. I am looking very forward to how this one turns out. As always, my name is Sparky, and I'm joined in commentary booth this time around by none other than Nightcore. How's it going, man?
Doing great, Sparky, and I totally agree with how you say. A very interesting matchup going on around the 64, Tonel versus Zoobin, two very well-known players in the scene and especially the tournament scene as well. Coming up this early, it's actually kind of surprising, but I'm very interested to see how they'll both perform.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of those matchups where I feel like when you tone down the difficulty a little bit, it really brings, like, that overlap between the two players really becomes basically one circle in terms of what they're comfortable with, where yeah, you start to see maybe the little cracks in the armor once you get into like mid to late game, like the qualifiers might have demonstrated. But in round of 64, I feel like it's really all on the table for these two.
Yeah, and just looking how strong both these players are, and of course from their qualifier results as well, I can probably judge how some of the stuff are going to be going. So it looks like Zoobin is going to be resorting to So Zoobin's going to be going for a coordination ban, probably in order to capitalize off a bit more of that wildcard, maybe even density as well, knowing Tonel with just their accuracy when it does come to pure LNs as well. Definitely not a player to mess around with, and that's why they're going to be going into the coordination 1 protect as well.
Yeah, I think true to form. I think you hit the nail on the head right there, where Zoobin's protected wildcard 1, Tonels responding with that coordination 1, and responding with a tech 3 ban, unsurprising, and then Zoobin responding in kind with a coordination 3 ban. So, I mean, basically, kind of outlining what the comfort picks for these two are, and seeing if either of them will really shake it up a little bit, maybe pick something a little risky if a breakpoint comes around early. But for right now, we're going to get things started off with Tech 1 when all's said and done.
Alright, so going into Zoobin with Cat Chase, I'm not really too surprised they've jumped into Tech, especially looking for the qualifiers. Tech was one of their stronger suits, seeding 33rd, I do believe, and Tonel seeding, I do believe, 24th. So not much of a seeding difference, so it can still go either way. So in this pick, of course, any Suzume fans, you should watch it as well. It's a really good movie. But really, you're just managing a lot in this map. Got a lot of that flowy coordination, and they also got some of those 1-6 snaps as well to keep your eyes out for.
Yeah, very jazzy composition overall, and really outlined in the overall mapping style here. As we get things underway, not a lot separating the two players. As things stand, a couple of 200s coming through from Zoobin's side, going to drop their accuracy down just that little bit below that 99.7 mark that I imagine is going to be the floor to aim for in this match. As you can see, Tonels making light work of this introduction, crossing that 400 combo cap as well with that 99.9 almost percent accuracy to give themselves about a 3,000 point lead right out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at the unstable rate as well, you can definitely tell Tonel is definitely a lot more prominent when it does come to stabilizing a lot of those releases. On the side of Zoobin, you can see some 200 spikes that does kind of claw at their accuracy a small bit. When you are facing an accuracy giant like Tonel, it can be kind of hard to, have that safety net against them. At this point, I would say Zoobin has to maybe rely on a miss on the side of Tonel, because I don't think there's going to be enough time to catch up the accuracy.
Yeah, miss might be what they're aiming for at this point. And it really is one of those things where, yes, you go into one of these more awkward style picks, and if you feel like you need to go into these immediately to ensure that you're not just giving your opponent comfort picks and spiking 200s as much as they are, that could spell trouble as this match progresses if they're not going to be able to bank on being able to sharpshoot some of these harder picks. And for right now, I mean, Tonel is just making light work of this map so far. Feels like they're currently on a V1SS run. I really doubt there's some late releases there. Maybe that might be a couple of 200s, but for right now, 99.85. That is going to be a pretty impressive score from them overall. And it looks like they're going to be able to clean this one up, make it a opening break point to make it 1-0.
Very nice start on the side of Tunnel, and also pretty solid score from Zubin. And actually, V1SS as well on the side of Tunnel, that 995. Very impressive scores all over the board, and yeah, just a really good start to Tunnel. That's all I can say, having that breakpoint. So now the world's their oyster, and they can just jump into their first pick of the match.
Yeah, this could be an immediate dive into maybe their protect just to start things off on the right foot. I feel like Raymay might also be a pretty good option as well if you want to go for those like awkward coordination style picks where it's really easy to miss while holding on to some of those elongated anchors or some really weird patterns that can cause your fingers to start to bottom out if you're not too careful, to just kind of keep things going on a track that might be up their alley. But no, it's going to be Tech 2 instead.
All right, very interesting start from Tonal. I think both players still, again, very strong this pick, but I get where Tonal is coming at. Again, this map is pretty simple, so I think maybe Tonal might just be trying to bank off the pure accuracy, but again, you still have to control that rhythm as well. Although there's not really too much technical patterns, the song is very technical, having that 5/4 timing signature, so if you aren't really too familiar with this song or map, it can trip either of these players up.
Yeah, some really awkward polyrhythmic structures. I mean, basically what we come to expect whenever you see 2L as a artist making a song. It's like you're in for you're in for a bit of a wacky time, but hopefully the patterns don't take the players for too much of a ride as we get this one underway. Very strong starts for both of them as they settle into their relative accuracy ranges. And I mean, I feel like we've been seeing this more and more throughout this round of 64 weekend, where it's like one player has a comfort ceiling about 1 or 0.2% higher than their opponent. That's really been the difference because misses have been very few and far between in this round overall. So really just how good are your early game fundamentals on an LN style picks like this? And for right now, I mean, Zoobin putting up a bit more of a fight on this one, only about a 10.5% behind. And I mean, 2,000 points is not that big of a lead in the grand scheme of things. Definitely within the range of a miss.
Yeah, absolutely. And still, the rest of the map is still yet to come. Of course, we're going to be seeing some of those shields, but when we head to the ending, we're going to be seeing a lot more of those free column low patterns. So anything is still possible on the board, but Tonal's still holding on to that 99.86, only 0.1% actually in front of Zoobin. But will the final quarter change all that?
Yeah, for right now, I mean, minuscule differences in terms of accuracy being made up, accuracy being lost, just hundredths of a percent. Feels like we haven't seen either player really put a step wrong on this map overall, just separated by those little mistakes here and there. And I mean, I consider a mistake a 200 in terms of the caliber of performance from these two players. So the fact that that's the bar that's separating these two 990k scores, and just Tonels being that tiny bit cleaner, another V1SS from them. Not much Zoobin can do in those instances as Tonels makes it 2-0 here.
Really solid showing for both players again. Even this pick for Zoobin, still putting up a really good fight against Tonal's pick, kind of more that strong suit as well. And nothing really to be discouraged of is alongside that. It was just very impressive showing from both players. And yeah, as you were saying, a 200 can pretty much be an equivalent to a miss, especially to both these players. But now Zoobin, going into the protect, going to be heading into wildcard 1.
Yeah, this probably, in practice, probably the one that they can swing the highest score on, and maybe hoping that there's something in there that causes Tonels a tiny bit of discomfort. But for right now, I mean, both players 2 for 2 in terms of FCs. It really just boils down to the really nitty gritty between the two of them.
Absolutely. I can also see why Zubin would go for Protect on something like this. Wildcard 1, I would say, being more the awkward map. Of course, having some... It's kind of bursty, the way I've described it. A couple of staggers and some 1/8s as well. So maybe trying to maybe capitalize off Tonel, maybe finding a combo break in somewhere in the map. Might be their game plan.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see if there is something here for Zubin to kind of sink their teeth into. And I mean, the other wild cards got left untouched, so potential avenue of approach for them if this goes their way. But with the way Tonels has been playing, the onus really does fall on Zubin being close enough to capitalize on any potential mistakes, being on the back foot here going into this map.
And yeah, getting off the start, both players very equalized now on slightly ever so the same accuracy, but now near the start with the coordination intro. Tonel gonna be the one emerging victorious from the intro, but we still have the rest of the map left. Of course, this is moderately long, so mental consistency also does have to play a bit of an aspect. Some reverse shields also being seen too, but heading out the first quarter, there's still a lot yet to come.
Yeah, very, very fast start for this map in general. Both players getting above that 400 combo cap relatively quickly. And again, just two very, very clean performances, but it's just being separated by those little details. It's just rushes of 300s coming out from Zoobin. I imagine just the overall 300 counts being ever so slightly higher, chipping away a tenth at a time at their accuracy through this introduction, and Tonels just being left on their plateau. 99.9 has been what they've been hovering at and around for a large majority of these maps, and being able to kind of just fall back and just basically daring Zoobin to climb up to meet them in terms of the overall accuracy. There's a 200 from Tonels, the first one that they've dropped in this match, gonna bring them down a little bit more and make this a little bit closer. Still about 2,000 points with half the map left to go here. Zoobin not out of this by any stretch of the imagination.
At this point, it's too close to comfort, but with the density and technicality spiking up a small bit more, maybe this could be Zoobin's time to shine, and maybe this might be why they protect it. Maybe to try catch Tonel out a small bit. But we'll see now as we're heading into the final quarter, getting that last break before we jump into what is yet to come.
And with a quarter of the map left to go, we dive right back on into what has been the real bulk of this map, just this freeform piano going for such a long time. The outer column anchors not catching on either of the players, still holding on to the two FCs. Only a 0.1%. That is the narrowest margin we've seen. Can you keep it clean through the trickiest portions of this map? Both players really up to the task by the looks of it here.
Yeah, and coming out the intro now, doesn't really look like anything has changed. I don't even think with Tonel missing there would be time for Zoobin to catch back up, but maybe there might, still too close to comfort to tell. But as the map does finish, 3,000 point difference. And I do believe that's a 2x200 and a 5x200 on the side of Tonel and Zoobin. I totally understand why Zoobin would want to protect this, just looking how close the scoring was between both these players. But unfortunately, it wasn't their day for this pick. And especially against Tonel as well, it can definitely be hard to catch up to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of those maps where it's like, all right, I gave it the best shot I possibly could, and you still outscored me. You just kind of tip your cap a little bit, and you're just like, all right, cool. I guess I'll try something else now. As Tonels, off the back of a second break point, going to go for their protect now in coordination 1.
So yeah, what way to finish it off? What way to nearly finish it off? Could be their potential last pick if they do win this and their next and another breakpoint, but time will still tell. And I totally understand why they would go for their protect at this point. So this is pretty much your textbook definition of density. Not density, coordination. I would say it is pretty light, so pure accuracy has to be intact.
Yeah, and it's slow enough where you really do have to hyper focus on the release elements in this chart. There's very few staggered starts to things, but a lot of the LN tails are at times you wouldn't naturally want to release things. So could see the potential for errant 100s, 200s being dropped if the players aren't too careful. But with the way they've been playing, it's probably going to be another single digit 200 run unless something goes like cataclysmically wrong throughout this map.
Just looking at both these players and their capabilities, I really doubt there will be a double digit 200. But anything can still happen. Again, this is more kind of banking off your pure accuracy. And even just how short this is, there could be potential for a double digit 300 count as well. Although that would be very tricky to do.
Yeah, for sure. Not out of the realm of possibility, but one of this map lends itself to just you feel like you're playing the map of your life, like the run of all time, and then next thing you know, you just have like 300 300s, and you're just like, where did all these come from? And it's literally just from these weird little releases through these intermission sections between the main verses and choruses. And I mean, again, we're found in a similar position where Tonels has just established a foothold at an accuracy range a little bit higher than Zoobin, and has just been banking on being able to fall back a little bit and have that cushion to work with. And I mean, Zoobin, for all their efforts, I mean, they haven't put a real foot wrong in this match so far, but we're starting to see the 200s come through on these three note chord inverse E type sections, and that's been what's been chipping away at these potential comebacks that they're needing to muster up in this match, and the gap is widened to about 0.2% now.
Yeah, it gives Tonel a pretty hefty lead, almost back up to that 99.9 range, but we still have the ending, which does get a bit more unique when it does come to the snappings. As you can see, also some free no column areas as well. But, and then at the final quarter, even the miss on the side of Tonel could break things over towards the side of Zoobin, but anything can still happen. As we do get to the final area of the map, it doesn't really look like anything. Will Tonel get the 99.9? Unfortunately not, but both players still getting very clean scores respectively.
Yeah, black flag for that one on the protect. Can't ask for really anything more. And I mean, I think Zoobin pointed out 3 for 3 on 995K is now a 996K. I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit at the start of the match, but Tonel is a really, really good early game accuracy player, and really coming to a fold here against Zoobin, where if they put a foot wrong, they're losing these points. But I mean, just the consistency to be able to bang out these types of scores on demand being the reason why they're on match point to start this match off. And Zoobin needing to find an answer here. Wildcard 1 looked pretty good. I mean, that again, that's one of those tip your cap kind of a moments. Maybe a density pick, and hope that it's fast enough to be able to kind of eschew the release elements. I don't know.
I would reckon one of Zoobin's better picks would probably be something like density free, maybe even wildcard free as well, or maybe technical free. Any of the frees pretty much, kind of being more the faster, trickier picks of those categories. So any of those are free, I think, would be some of Zoobin's strongest picks. But we'll have to see. And density free is going to be heading into Uma Musume. Any of my Uma fans out there, let's get this race started.
Yeah, let's get this race started. I unfortunately did not train my horse correctly, so I'll be crashing out as per usual on my career. But
what's our guts? It happens.
Listen, man, you can only lose a 1% failure rate so many times before you're like, okay, this game isn't for me anymore.
Oh yeah, trust me, it happens a lot.
That's some PTSD moment for anybody that knows. But
oh yeah,
you would think playing games like XCOM would prepare you for this, but no. It might as well be 100% failure. But regardless. Going for density.
Number one favorite, so if Tonel misses on this, being number one favorite, and then coming like 5th or something, would be that miss.
Number one favorite. You skip forward. It's like, I got this in the bag. You finished 12th.
Oh, it
Nice.
happens. And then Adam says you don't have enough skills when you have 0 skill points.
All right, let's get this one underway. Last chance saloon for Zubin in this match. See if they can pull one out of the bag here. Definitely has it within them. Like I said, they haven't done anything wrong. They've FC'd every single one of these maps so far. It's just the little things. Can they keep it clean enough to hold their own against Tonels here?
Time will tell. And getting off the intro, it actually is decently close, I would say. So Zoobin just kind of has to avoid getting too many 200s for their comfort. But looking at the unstable rate right now, you can see that while Zoobin and Tonel are getting a bit some of those 200 spikes, it is kind of to be expected in a density pick like this where you're kind of tunnel visioning a lot of those releases as well.
Yeah, the saving grace is the fact that all these releases are on like a 1/4 style grid. So once you kind of lock in where you're supposed to be releasing, you can begin to really hone in on sharpshooting, the accuracy. And I mean, for now, I mean, it's been the tail of the tape so far this match. A third left to go here. Just that 1/10 difference that Zoobin hasn't been able to find in this match. I mean, credit to Tonels. They're being pushed to perform at this level by Zoobin, and they've been able to rise to the task here on each of the picks so far. And with a quarter of the map left to go, it's going to come down to a mistake from Tonels at this point to give Zoobin a chance of claiming this point here.
And here we are at the outro. Gonna put more of that emphasis on that single stream density a small bit, but both players still holding on very well. Slight accuracy drops are given, but with the ending with those trills, both players eating that up perfectly. But at the end of the day, Tonel has managed to get their 5th point, giving them the victory of this match and that V1 double S as well. Really good performances by both players.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, there does have to be a winner here, and Tonels will be punching the ticket into the winners round at 32. Zoobin going to be bumped down into that losers bracket where they hope to make the run here. I mean, this is a pretty hard round 1 matchup, and I mean, it can only get easier from here. And as the maps do progressively get more dense, more physically demanding, I feel like they have a chance to really show us what they're made of in those later rounds if they can make it that far. But with that being said, that will do it for this match overall. And all that's left is one block, a doubleheader to round things out. The last 2 matches of the round of 64 weekend is going to be Peach Marrow and Justin Milo and Lalito898 and Senzawa going up against each other at the same time, 18:30 UTC. So gonna take a tiny bit of a break here, about an hour before we bring you guys that one. But until then, I mean, Nightcore, you got anything else left to add here?
Not really. Oh, also, it's going to be Newson versus Zoobin. I think that was mentioned in chat. So 2 UK players in the losers bracket next week where they're going to be facing each other. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
You hate the same country elimination match. I mean, you want to see these guys last as long as possible, but I mean, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So that one's going to be a bit of an exciting one. Some friendly rivalry going on there. But until then, we'll take our little break. We'll catch you guys in about an hour. Take care, y'all.
Take care.